Hey guys, welcome to Farm Term Chic. I'm Emily. In today's episode, I'm going to be showing you how I created some beautiful bee-themed decor. I hope it is something that you enjoy and that it inspires you as well. This is part of a playlist collaboration and I will explain more about that later in the video. But if you like crafting, DIYs, dupes, hacks, thrift flips, or creating in general, I would love if you would consider subscribing. And if you do like what you see in today's video, remember to click that thumbs up button. But let's get right into the DIYs. For this DIY, I am using a canvas from Dollar Tree and this little bee pick that I got there. It is so cute. It is a rainbow color, but I'm just going to snap this little pick part off of it because I'm going to end up putting onto my canvas. Now I am going more for a French country bee theme here, so I'm going to paint over this canvas. You could use any type of sign blank that you have or that you wanted to get at Dollar Tree. I just like the square shape of this and it's what I had on hand. I am also going to cover this bee. Yes, I know it is beautiful, all rainbow colored, but it does not fit my theme. So I just want you to see that you can paint over things and make them match your own decor. It does take about 2 or 3 coats on both of these to make sure that I get the coverage that I want, and you can do these in any color. Now I'm just taking some antiquing wax and I'm going to completely cover this bee, and I'm going to end up wiping off most of this antiquing wax. What this is going to do is there's a lot of raised parts on the tin of this little cute bee, and that antiquing wax is going to settle into all of like the little nooks and crannies, if you will. So when I wipe that off, you can see here, you'll be able to see all that little detail that's on there. It also gives it a very aged look, which if you've been around here for a minute, you know that I'm a very big fan of that. So again, this would be optional. You can do whatever distressing technique you would like. I just thought this is the way that I went and I really liked how it turns out. After I do get all of the coverage, I kind of go around all of the edges to kind of bring out a little bit more around the edges to kind of give it a little definition when I put it on the sign. So I just used some painter's tape and tape off kind of a ticking stripe on this little canvas. To me, that really speaks French farmhouse feel. So again, this would be a totally optional thing to do. And I am using a lavender color. So if you like this color, wonderful. If not, you can definitely tailor it to what you like. I thought this would just be a very good centerpiece, a grounding piece for that bee to sit against. So I just kind of used the pounce method against the tape to seal that. So I go around all the edges and pounce that paint on, let that dry, and then I go in with my brush to do my second coat to give it a little bit better coverage. I love the satisfying feeling of peeling back that tape when you do stripes and having them all look crisp and clean. Now just know that if you ever have an area you need to touch up, you can just take a little fine brush and go back in with your base color and kind of touch it up if you need to. Now I thought it would be nice to have this bee have a little bit of a 3-dimensional look against this sign here. So I am just putting a little bit of like 2 little wooden cubes from Dollar Tree, and I just glue those onto the back of the bee, and then I just kind of eyeball this as I glue it down into the center. Once I press that down, I realize the wings do feel pretty flimsy, so I take 2 more cubes and I just glue them underneath either side of the wings. That just gives it a little more stability so those wings aren't kind of flapping around there. And look at how beautiful this looks. I love how this turned out. I love the neutral tone of the bee. I love the purple color. I just think this is absolutely perfect. What do you guys think of this? Today's episode is part of a playlist collaboration and I am so excited to be a part of it. Down in my description box is going to be a link to the playlist. I will also pin it in my comments so you can easily find it. When you click on that link, it will take you directly to the playlist where you will be able to get all of the bee inspiration that you need. There will be so many fun and creative videos there. I am so excited to be hosting with the Crafty Cove, 6 Kids and a Glue Gun, and Kiki's DIYs. I will leave a link to all of their channels down in my description box as well, so make sure you go click into their channels, subscribe to them, and tell them all hello. Let's get right back into the DIYs. I saw this little candle votive at Dollar Tree and it had some little bees on it, and I thought it would be perfect to use for this bee video, but it did have kind of a chip in the side of it, and so I wanted to cover that up. I do love the yellow color. It is beautiful. You could easily leave it, but I just want you to know that you can change the color of anything to match your decor or your themes, and that's okay. I know sometimes I get a couple comments of, oh, it was so beautiful, why did you paint over it? I just want you to not be afraid of changing things if it's not your taste or your style. So I'm just giving this a coat of white paint first as a base, and then I'm going back in with a lavender color. I love the color of lavender with French country themes and with like the bees kind of, I mean, when I think of bees, and we've had beehives before, and we planted lavender around for them to fly through and everything. And I just love the contrast of the two. So that's why I chose the lavender color. I am just dry brushing around that raised detail and all around with some white chalk paint to kind of make that bee detail show up and have it look a little distressed. And if you get a little heavy on one spot, just go back in with your original base color and kind of tone that white down if you get a little heavy on some spots. And I thought it would be cute to just stick a little teeny round topiary ball on top of this. Just bring a little greenery in, and those cute little bees just pop on there. And I think this is just such a cute little touch of bee and a little bit of spring and everything. I think it turned out really cute. I picked up this little chalkboard sign at Christmas time from Hobby Lobby. It was like 50% off, so it ended up being $2, but you can also use a Dollar Tree chalkboard like I'm showing you there to do the same type of thing with, or any blank. But I am using some Chalk Couture, and if you followed me for a little bit, you know that I'm fairly new to the Chalk Couture world, so I'm still experimenting with some things, but I'm loving it so far. So I'm just taking my transfer and kind of defuzzing it on the mat, and then you're just going to place it down on your surface. I'm using my little Cricut scraper to make sure I get a really good bond, that way nothing kind of seeps through. The best way I can explain this is it's a lot like silk screen printing basically. So you're just taking your chalk paste and you're going in with your little scraping tool there, and you're placing your paste in, and then you just kind of scrape it off. And I go both directions there to make sure that I get the full coverage that I want. I thought this little saying was cute. It came on a set that I had, and I'll go ahead and link this down in my description box so you can easily find it. Or if you have questions or anything about Chalk Couture, definitely let me know. I'm fairly new, but I will try to help you the best that I can. It's been a lot of fun, and I love when you peel it back and it looks so wonderful. You can kind of watch here when I peel this back. I was surprised at how quick and easy that was. And then there's these cute little bees on here. So I did lift my transfer up and place these bees in a little bit of a different area because my surface was a little smaller than what the transfer was, but I just do those in a little bit of white as well. I love trying new ways to craft and create, and I love showing you guys different ways to make things and create things, and different methods and all sorts of different tools. I think it is so wonderful that products like this make it possible for everybody to create. I think it is so important for all of us to have that creative outlet and be proud of what we have made. Not everybody has the same talent, so I love that there are things to help everybody feel proud of what they make. What do you guys think of this sign? I think it turned out so cute, and it is going to look so great with all of my bee decor. I had some wooden blocks that I had picked up at a yard sale, and I just gave them kind of a whitewash, and now I am just going over them and I am painting a faux ticking stripe to kind of match all of my other French farmhouse bee decor that I'm doing. And I just freehand this on here, so it does not have to be perfect. You can tell that I am not by any means able to paint straight lines, but it ends up looking okay in the end. I was a little skeptical, but I think it ends up looking okay. After I get all of those stripes painted on all of the sides of these little blocks here, I go in with some white paint on a little chip brush here, you can kind of see, and I just kind of distress that even more so it does look a little bit more faded. I have been asked by several people to give a little bit more thorough detail on how to print on tissue paper. So I am just taking a regular piece of copy paper and a regular piece of tissue paper. One side of the tissue paper kind of has a shiny sheen to it, and the other side is more of a dull, softer side. So I like to print with that shiny, slick side down to the paper, so that softer side is what is up, what goes through your printer. So I just take a corner of the tissue paper and move in a little bit on my paper, and then I am just placing tape down to tape the corners really well. After I get my first corner taped there, I will just take a pair of scissors and I am just going to trim the tissue paper down to fit on my paper so I can tape all of the edges down. Now I have seen a couple of different methods on how to tape your paper down. This is how I've had the most success. You can bring the tissue paper around the edges of your paper if you want, just as long as that paper fits through your printer and doesn't rip or anything, and this is how I've had the most success. After I cut it down, I just tape all of the corners down, making sure that my tape covers that entire corner so nothing's going to get caught in my printer. I then take a couple of pieces of tape and I tape along the edges. I don't want any air getting underneath that tissue paper and having it bubble up when it goes into the printer when it starts printing, and this helps prevent that from happening. So I will just feed this through my printer just like a normal piece of paper now. So whatever side you put your paper in, so you want the tissue paper where the ink comes through. Does that make sense? So I'm putting it so it will print on the tissue paper on the paper. So when I first printed mine, I printed it and it came out black, like very dark. You can see here. And that wasn't really the French like farmhouse look that I wanted. So I went ahead and redid my image in Canva, and I just printed these in Canva and did a gray color. You can see this one, the tissue paper did rip a little bit, but it did not rip any of the images, so it's still okay. So I'm just going to, you just cut around these. You can, I mean, I don't like to tear it because I don't want to risk tearing my image. So at this point, I just cut these off here until I get my little tissue paper, and you just take that off of the paper, throw your paper away, and you're left with these darling images printed on the tissue paper. Now, I've had several people tell me that they sell like water pens to do this with, or specific things to do this with. I don't have those on hand. I'm not going to go buy one because it works just fine to use a little paintbrush and a little bit of water and do the method this way. If you have one of those brushes or want to invest in one of those, go for it. I don't see the need because I do this every once in a while and this totally works. So, but I just want you to know there is that tool out there, and every time I do this, everyone tells me about the pens. I am well aware that there are the pens. This works just fine for me. So I just kind of go around my image a little bit with a little water on that brush, and then you're able to tear away that tissue paper, and it kind of gives you a little frayed edge. So when we decoupage this onto our blocks, you're not really going to see the edge of the tissue paper. So now I'm just taking some decoupage on my brush. I am using a matte decoupage, and I am just putting it all over my surface there very lightly. And I am just using, I'm not really sure what this little tool is called here. It came with my Cricut accessories, but I love it for this because then I don't get my fingers all messed up. And I just center it as best I can. And then using my finger, my dry finger, I'm just kind of pressing it around from the middle outwards to kind of have it not have as many wrinkles. And then once I get to that very outward edge, I use my brayer to kind of get that cemented down on there, if you will. And that helps smooth it all out. And then I go around the edges with a little bit of decoupage first. I let that dry, and then I will go over the entire image with a very, very, very thin coat of decoupage to help protect it and help it so it doesn't like rip or anything like that. Now, do be careful when you're using your brayer on the tissue paper, because tissue paper is a little bit more sturdy than a napkin is, so it can handle a brayer a little better, but you do run the risk of tearing it, so just be very careful with that. Now, the wonderful thing about this is when you first place it on there, you can kind of see the tissue paper outline, but as you do the decoupage around the edge and you do the decoupage over the top of it, literally that edge vanishes. Like, it looks like this is either printed on there. I love how this looks. I love the water slide decal paper. You could easily use that for this project, but I feel like this, you don't get that sheen like you do with the decal paper. I think this is such a wonderful trick. And look at how beautiful these little blocks turned out. I think they turned out so cute. I think they're that perfect touch of farmhouse and French country. And if you wanted to place images around all sides of them, you easily could do that as well. It would be fun to have some different themes on all the different sides of them as well. Don't forget that I'm on Instagram also. I love to meet new Insta friends, so I would love for you to come over and say hi, check out my page, and see all the latest projects that I'm working on. I'll be sure and leave a link down in my description box so you can easily find me. For this project, you just need any type of sign blank. I love checking Hobby Lobby because I feel like I get the best deals there and like wonderful sized signs. So that's where I got this one from. I am trying to sand the letters off just by hand, and they are not budging. And I really wanted a natural wood look to this. So I take it out, and it is so hard to film one-handed while you're sanding something, but I'm just using like my big sander. That's what I had to end up using to get those letters off of there. And then I just cut this image out on my Cricut, and I'm kind of making a stencil. And I got it from Silhouette's design studio, so I will go ahead and link that down, so if you wanted to find it there, you could, and then you can size it to whatever size your background is. But I just placed it down like a stencil, So I just reverse weeded it and then laid that down on my surface here. And then I am just pouncing with a little bit of paint up and down all over the stencil. Now you can kind of see at the top my B didn't transfer the best, and then I have one of the words that didn't. So I'll go back in and redo those after I get everything else done. So I'm just going through and lightly pouncing, letting that paint dry, and then I will peel that up. And there are a couple of areas that I have to go in and just take the rest of that stencil up, like, you know, in the middle of my O's and everything like that. So you can kind of see there how that process is. And then I'm just doing the little word raw there because it didn't transfer, or the stencil didn't work the best. And I redid my cute little B at the top there, which I think is just absolutely darling. You can always try using water slide decal paper or using printing on tissue paper to do a sign like this. I am just going in and de-stressing it with some sand to kind of make all of the writing and the stencil look a little bit aged and blend in with that wood surface that I did, how it looks very distressed. I just think this turned out so cute. I love this sign. It's like the perfect distressing amount, and I love the wood finish on it as well. I think it turned out really cute. What do you guys think of this cute sign? I really hope that you guys enjoyed the DIYs and project from today's video. I was so excited when they announced that this collaboration was going to have a bee theme to it. And of course, my mind immediately thought of the black and yellow bees. But as I was getting some inspiration and things, I just kept coming back to the French country feel and that little vintage bee look and everything. And I just really decided to go with that. And so I hope that you guys, I hope it translated well, that you guys liked the projects that I did. I would love to know if you had a favorite one, which it was. Please let me know down in the comments. And again, I will leave a link to the playlist and the other hosts' channels down in the playlist as well, or in my description box as well. So make sure you check that out. Watch the other videos and let them all know what a beautiful job that they have done also. As always, I would like to remind you to be safe, be smart, be nice, be happy. Choose to have a good day because you are amazing. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you next time. If you enjoyed the video that you just saw, here's another one that you might enjoy. And as always, remember to like and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching and have an amazing day.